Hi guys, happy Monday. I hope that you're all having an amazing start to your week. Welcome back to my channel. My vacation is officially over. We are now in the month of April, and I thought we would kick off this month with a good old-fashioned MMQA. We have loads of questions, so let's get right to it, shall we? Starting with the first question. Are you over Louis Vuitton? I don't see you buying from them as much as you used to. All right, so you're right. I definitely don't buy from them anywhere near as much as I used to. I think I've probably cut down my shopping at Louis Vuitton by maybe 90%. And am I over them? Not necessarily. I mean, I will always have mad love for the fashion house. It was my first love when it came to luxury goods. And all of the pieces that I have from the fashion house within my collection, I still absolutely love. Some of them are still like my top SLGs, my top handbags and what have you. But at the same time, there's nothing out there that they currently have or upcoming that drives me to want to buy it. Absolutely not. I mean, there's nothing out there that I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to call my sales associate. I have to get my hands on it. Absolutely nothing like that. And don't get me wrong, I appreciate many of especially some of the new collections that are coming out. They have a lot of pastels coming out, and I do think that they're beautiful, and I love the denim collection that they recently came out with as well. But I think that they're cute, but again, nothing to where I'm like, oh, I have to have it, you know? And it's kind of crazy because I feel like back in the day when I would walk into the Louis Vuitton boutique, I would get the warm and fuzzies, and this might sound super, super corny, but I felt like it was my second home. And now when I walk in there, it's not really the same feeling. Like, I don't get those same warm and fuzzies. I walk around the store and I'm like, ooh, I really like that. I really like that. But again, nothing pops out. Nothing's like, take me home. Nothing like that. So I don't know. So again, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm over them. I'm just kind of like, who knows? Maybe I'm waiting for something else to come out. So again, I wouldn't necessarily say that I'm over them. It's just that nothing really gives me the wow factor that the items that I purchased back in the day gave me before, you know? So I don't even know if that makes sense or not, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this question. Are you over Louis Vuitton? Let us know in the comment section down below. Next question, what do you think are some of the main reasons why brands like Balenciaga, Loewe, etc. don't hold their value as well as the big three? The big three, of course, being Hermes, Chanel, and Louis Vuitton. I think that there are a few different reasons why these brands don't end up holding their resale value as well as those. The first one being that the big three really do have a very long history, because of course you have Hermes that was founded in 1837, if I'm not mistaken, Chanel in 1910, and Louis Vuitton in 1854, with the exception, of course, of Loewe, because Loewe was purchased by LVMH in 1986, and Loewe was technically founded in 1846, so it is currently LVMH's oldest fashion brand. But I think that because those three, the Hermes, Louis Vuitton, and Chanel, those guys have a longer history than some of the new ones. Some of the newer ones started in the 60s and the 70s and what have you. So I think that is a major factor. Another reason I would have to say is that the big three don't really have sales. I mean, you have Chanel that sometimes their shoes go on sale, they're ready to wear, and their fashion jewelry. But as far as their handbags go, there are no sales for their handbags. Same goes for Louis Vuitton, same goes for Hermes. And you can find Balenciaga that goes on sale. You can find Loewe that goes on sale. Another thing is that some of these other brands also have outlets. And as great as the outlets are, I mean, you guys know, I love outlets. The fact that I can save any amount of money on any type of luxury good at any point in time makes me very, very happy. But I also think that because some of these brands do have outlets, sometimes that ends up hurting their resale value. I think Gucci is a really good example of that, because Gucci doesn't go on sale necessarily at the stores, but they do have an outlet, and sometimes their items don't really hold their resale value as well. Then again, I feel like there's a gray area, because sometimes the very popular bags from these fashion houses do hold their resale value very, very well. So I think it's kind of, I don't really think that there is anything set in stone, oh, it's because of this. I just personally feel that the fact that the big three, again, have the history and that they don't have outlets and the fact that they don't go on sale really make them the big three that they are versus some of the other brands. But I mean, whether they're older, newer brands, it doesn't matter. I personally love them all, but those are I'm just taking a stab in the dark. I think that's maybe the reason why those guys don't hold their resale value as well as the others. I could be wrong. I have no idea, but that's what I think. What about you guys? Why do you think that some of those types of brands don't end up holding their resale value as well as the big three? Let us know in the comment section down below. Next question. I can't stand when the zipper of a bag I'm using scratches my hand when I get in and out of it. Honestly, it's my biggest pet peeve, but I won't get rid of the bags that do this. I will complain every time I use them, but I still won't sell them. Crazy, I know. Do you have any pet peeves that you experience with your bags but you won't sell? If so, what are they and why don't you get rid of them? I need some inspiration. Okay, so first and foremost, you are not crazy. It makes perfect sense to me. If you're crazy, then I'm crazy too. But I completely understand what you're talking about. Do I have a pet peeve? I do. And that's when I end up using a bag on my shoulder and it ends up rolling off of my shoulder. That drives me up the wall. I can't stand it. Just like you, I start complaining. Sometimes I end up having some really colorful language and I kind of have like a mini rant to myself. I probably look psycho on the streets when this happens, but yeah, when they end up falling off of my shoulders. Now, at the same time, I've said before, I don't really have the largest shoulders on the planet. So some of my bags do end up doing this. Other times it's my own fault because of the type of clothing that I'm wearing. Like if I'm wearing a really soft cashmere sweater, ooh, fancy, right? If I'm using a cashmere sweater, it ends up rolling off, especially if it's a chain bag. If it's just a chain, I've noticed that happens. But other times, if I'm just wearing like a sleeveless shirt and if it still ends up rolling off, it just absolutely drives me crazy. Totally crazy. But like you, I won't end up selling them. And really it's because some of the bags that I experience this with, the fact that it falls off doesn't outweigh the pros that bag has for me. So even though the strap might drive me crazy, and again, I might look psycho when it happens and I'm out in the street, or like if I'm at Target and it rolls off, I'm like, ah. I mean, I'm telling you, I look nuts. But again, the cons don't outweigh the pros. The pros might be the fact that I love the size, I love the structure, I love the color, I love the material, I love this, that, and the other. So I too won't get rid of it. I know it makes zero sense, right? But it makes zero sense, but at the same time, I get it, and I feel like other handbag lovers will get it as well, because I think that many of us maybe have this happen. Maybe not all the time, but maybe there is a pet peeve that drives us crazy, but we still love so many other aspects of the bag that we can't even fathom, parting ways with it. So that's not really, that's not really good advice, right? Because it's not very inspirational whatsoever, because I understand exactly what you're talking about. But yeah, I won't sell because the pros outweigh the cons of that horrible strap. So I don't know. But what about you guys? Can you help us out? Can you guys give us some inspiration? What are some of your pet peeves when it comes to your handbags? Do you get rid of them because of your pet peeves, or pet peeves? Did I say that right? Pet peeves? Or do you keep them because of X, Y, and Z? Whatever the case may be, let us know in the comment section down below. Next question. You've had the Goyard St. Louis for a few months now. Do you still love it? Do you like it more than the Neverfull? Do you think you'll get more Goyard pieces? All right, so I did bring it out, so we have a little bit of eye candy. This is the Goyard St. Louis tote in the color green and the PM size. And do I still love this bag? Absolutely. One of the things that I love the most about it is how lightweight it is. It is so incredibly comfortable. It doesn't dig into my skin whatsoever. And it's also very, very spacious. Do I like it more than the Neverfull? Absolutely not. The Neverfull is still like my top dog. It is still the best of the best. You guys hear me talk about it all the time. I'm sure you're sick of it. But as much as I love this bag and as comfortable as it is to wear, the Neverfull is definitely my workhorse. I can throw everything and the kitchen sink into that bag, no problem. Whereas with this one, you definitely don't want to overstuff this bag. This bag was not meant to be a workhorse. At least in my opinion, this bag was not meant to have everything and the kitchen sink. Sometimes on the pre-loved market, you'll see this bag and it has a lot of cracks along this part here. And I think it's because people do end up overstuffing this bag. Now you have to remember that the St. Louis came about to be a beach bag. So when you're at the beach, you have your wet items, and what you do is, this is a reversible tote. So you turn it inside out. That way your wet clothes is on this and you don't have to worry about this getting wet. So it's not really, you know, throw your laptop, throw your planner, throw all this stuff in there, because then that's when you're definitely going to end up seeing these cracks along the top part of the bag. But I still love it. I still think it's great. And would I end up getting another Goyard? I definitely would. I would still go for another St. Louis. I would go for either the burgundy. I really like the gray. I love the white. I think that it's beautiful. I also like the Artois. I think the Artois is a really nice toe. The biggest difference, of course, is the fact that the Artois has the zippered closure. But again, you guys know that a zippered closure on a toe is not like it's not a deal breaker for me. It's not something that I absolutely need. But it is a nice feature. But yeah, I really do like this brand. I love the history of it, and I think it's great. But again, it's not necessarily like a workhorse. It's not something that you can throw everything at it and then it'll still look as good as new. So I really try my hardest not to overstuff the bag. And you guys know I am definitely one that likes to throw everything in my totes, especially if it's an open tote. But I don't really do that with this bag. I end up doing it more so with other totes that I have within my collection, and of course the Neverfull. The Neverfull, I mean, I think that bag takes the cake for me. But again, very, very spacious, and I love this little guy. I thought it would bother me, the fact that you can't remove this, but it definitely doesn't. I think it is super, super cute. I mean, you can take this part off, but you can't take this off here. But it's still, I still think it's really cute, and I love the color. I absolutely love the green. So still absolutely love the Goyard St. Louis totes. Next question. What do you think of the Chanel Dad Sandals, and do you think they will last? I am probably the only person on the planet that thinks that the Chanel Dad Sandals are absolutely hideous. They do not appeal to me whatsoever, and I can't even begin to comprehend why they are so insanely popular. I mean, I know people have said that they're crazy comfortable, and that's great. I'm happy for you. If that's your jam, that's awesome. For me personally, I just think that they are atrocious. They are not cute whatsoever. They make your feet look massive, and they're overpriced too. Like, I've seen some of them on the pre-loved market going for like $3,000. Of course, it depends on the material that they're made from, because some of them do have the quilted lambskin leather. But still, whether they're retail or whether you get them from a reseller or what have you, I just think that they're overpriced for these fugly sandals. Like, I just don't get it. Same goes for dad shoes too, dad sneakers or what have you. Not a fan whatsoever. I sound like such a bitter Betty, but I don't get it. I think that they're hideous. And the Chanel Dad Sandals remind me of like a really fancy off-roading sandal, and I'll put the off-roading sandal up here so you guys know what I'm talking about. They remind me of those, but of course with the Chanel name and with Chanel details or what have you. Like, I don't think the Chanel name or the details are going to save the way that I feel these sandals look. I don't care. I don't care who makes them. I think that they're hideous. So definitely not for me. Not a fan. Do I think that they'll last? I hope not. I hope that they're on their way out. Same goes for dad's shoes. I hope those are out too, because they're just definitely not my jam. they don't appeal to me whatsoever. What about you guys? Are you a fan of the Dad Sandal? If you're not, if you are, whatever the case may be, let us know in the comment section down below. Next question, what do you think about boy bags? I actually used to have the Chanel LeBoy bag up until a few years ago. I actually had the biggest love-hate relationship with that bag, so I ultimately decided to sell it. No regrets here whatsoever. Now, even though the bag didn't end up working out for me, there are still some aspects about it that I really appreciate and that I really love. I really like the style of it. I think it's a really cool looking bag. Anytime that I would wear it, I would pair it with my Doc Martens, and I always felt like Billy Badass. It was also very spacious, and it was lightweight. It wasn't like this heavy bag whatsoever. The thing that I hated about the bag was the strap / chain or whatever it was, because you have half chain and you have half strap, and I felt like the strap had a mind of its own. It wouldn't stay in place. It would move around. Sometimes my hair would end up getting caught in the chain, and it was just not pleasant whatsoever. And I struggled with, should I get rid of it? Should I not? Should I get rid of it or should I not? For years, like I could not make up my mind. And finally, I said, okay, I'm done. I'm sick of this strap, and I ended up selling it. So I guess this is kind of like what I was talking about earlier. This is the one time where even though this bag had a lot of pros for me, the con outweighed all those pros. But yeah, I ended up getting rid of it, and definitely don't regret it, but it is a really cool looking bag. One thing that I will have to say when it comes to the Chanel LeBoy bag is that I feel like the caviar leather ends up wearing a lot better than the lambskin. I love the look of the lambskin more than the caviar, but I think that the caviar ultimately ends up wearing a lot better as time goes by, just because it is such a boxy design that with the lambskin, I think that you end up seeing the wear and tear on the corners a lot faster than you do on the caviar. Or if, I think mine was in the calfskin, and that one ended up wearing really well as well. So if you end up going for either calfskin, the aged calfskin, or even the caviar, those guys might be a little bit more hard wearing than the lambskin, even though the lambskin I think is absolutely beautiful. It just, I feel it doesn't really end up holding up very well in the grand scheme of things or what have you. But it is a very, very cool looking design. It just didn't end up working out for me. Next question, any favorite small leather goods, not luxury? Yes, I brought two of them out. One of them you guys have seen many of times, and it is this bad boy right here, which is my cold hard cash pouch. I've had this for like maybe 4 or 5 years. I got it at Z Gallery for like 20 bucks, totally overpaid, but at the same time, I have used it to death and I will never part with it. I think it is so cute. It has color transfer on the back, but I love it. I mostly use it in the spring and summer, but I think it is so incredibly cute. Now the other one you guys have not seen, I recently got my hands on it. Every time I've gone into IKEA, they never have them, or they send me around the store like a million times and I can never find them, but I got them this time. Are you ready for this? They are so cute. Look at that. I think this is adorable. All right, first of all, they're 79 cents. It comes with a little keychain and it has a little zippered closure, so you can use it as a wallet, as a catch-all. I don't know, but I mean, look at that. So stinking cute. I grabbed a few of them because I was like, okay, I tried to track these down forever. So this also is something that I'm gonna be using as an SLG inside of my bags, because it's adorable. I love IKEA, and fabulous price point, 79 cents. I mean, you can't beat that, right? You absolutely cannot beat that. Next question, what is your guilty pleasure? Maybe a favorite dessert or a shopping spree, day trips alone. My guilty pleasure would probably have to be either antiquing or going to flea markets / swap meets. You are more likely to find me at a swap meet, antiquing, or at a flea market than you will at the mall. Like the mall, it's cool, but I absolutely love those other three. I think that they're fantastic, especially when I can find a really old bag or just decorative pieces. I'm a huge fan of that. So that is definitely my guilty pleasure for sure. All right, my favorite watch. My favorite watch that I own is this beauty. I actually have to get a battery for it, but it is the Michelle Diamond Deco Extra Large watch. Now the extra large, this is the old one. This is the jumbo size. It is a 38 millimeter watch if I'm not mistaken, whereas the new ones now I think are 33 millimeter. But I am obsessed with this watch. It's so incredibly comfortable. You have 120 diamonds around the bezel. It's a little bit over a half carat of diamonds, and I think it is gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous, but like I said, I do have to get a battery for that, so that kind of sucks. It died out on me, but I love how massive it is. I love big watches. I was always a fan of like the boyfriend watches as well, but love that. Love the way that it looks, and I've never had any issues with it whatsoever. As far as my favorite watch that I don't have yet, that is the Rolex Datejust 36 millimeter. I am obsessed with Rolex watches. I always have been. That is my holy grail when it comes to fine jewelry or watches in general. That's it for me. So those two I think are fabulous. Next question, how do you deal with pets and luxury like dog hairs on your bags? I've really never had any issues with any of my boys and my handbags. The only thing is that Theo licked my Gucci Ophidia that you guys saw in our last MMQA. I have not cleaned that, and I refuse to clean it. I know that might be gross for some of you guys, but I don't want to do it. But yeah, I've never really had any issues with dog hair or anything like that. And I don't know if it's because after I'm done using a bag, I pretty much put it back on my shelf. I don't really leave it out. But yeah, whether it was Theo, whether it's Edward, or any of my other fur babies, I never had any issues with them either hanging out in my room and getting dog hair on them or anything like that. So no issues here whatsoever. Next question, how long do you see yourself doing YouTube for? I've been an OG fan since 2014. Woo woo! That is awesome. First and foremost, thank you for your love and support all these years. It means the world to me. That is amazing. As far as how long do I see myself on YouTube for, I honestly don't know. I have no idea. I would be lying if I told you I see myself on here for 10 more years or even 5 more years. I mean, it'll be my 9th year this June, and I have like over 600 videos under my belt. The fact that I'm still here after all these years is it's kind of crazy. I never thought, I mean, I would be on here for a year, let alone almost 9. So that's kind of crazy. But I don't know. I really don't know. I actually had someone ask me the other day if I'm going to go back to filming the way that I used to. Like 5-6 years ago. 5-6 years ago, I was doing 3 videos a week, and as great as that was, I honestly think that it also probably burnt me out. So I was always like freaking out. Okay, what am I going to film next? What am I going to film next? What am I going to film next? And I've said it before that when it comes to YouTube, this is absolutely a hobby for me. I have a real job, and when the hobby becomes stressful, like that's not a good thing. You go to your hobby to de-stress, right? So I definitely don't want to. I don't want to stress out about anything, like that when it comes to YouTube. But I'll continue to do it as long as it's fun for me. When it stops being fun for me, that's when I'm gonna completely stop. But like I said before, I really don't see myself doing it for 5 or 10 more years. Definitely not. So who knows? Who knows what the future holds? Next question. Do you feel empowered when using luxury items, like on entering a store, for example? Definitely not. I wear the bag doesn't wear me. Next question. What is the next bag on your radar? Well, I did end up knocking out some bags that were on my radar while I was on vacation. I will have that video for you guys probably next week. I'm waiting for something else to arrive. But I went a little bit crazy during vacation, so I was able to get those. So the next bag on my radar, I think, is probably going to have to be the Saint Laurent Lulu bag in the size small. I thought I wanted it in the white, but then I go back and forth. I'm thinking about beige. I've also thought about, they have this beautiful yellow as well. So I'd have to say that I'm definitely looking at the Saint Laurent Lulu more than any other bag at the moment. So probably that one, but Really, bud? He's kind of grouchy. Did you guys hear that? That rumble? That was Theo. Yeah, I'd have to say that the Saint Laurent is definitely catching my eyeballs. Next question: how has the luxury YouTube community changed since you started? Oh man, it has changed so much. Sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. And I love the fact that now we're able to get better lighting, better audio, better visual, better editing when it comes to being able to see some of these luxury goods, whether they're handbags, SLGs, or what have you. Of course, I don't include myself in the editing or the lighting because both of those I suck at. But the fact that back in the day, I mean, you didn't have the best video quality, and it was really hard to see the details of those items. And now I feel like you can see absolutely every nook and cranny. You can see everything, and I think it's wonderful because that way, if someone's explaining wear and tear or what have you, you can actually see what the hell they're talking about. So I love that. I also like the fact that there are so many more videos out there on these items, because back in the day, I mean, unless it was a really popular bag, and even then you can find maybe 100 at most videos on the bag, and now you have thousands upon thousands of videos on any given bag. You have so many different perspectives, and I think that's wonderful when it comes to researching, because if you want to get this person's perspective, this person's point of view, and that person's point of view, and that way you can make a decision later on based on what they're saying, I think it's great versus only having one video and then you're like, okay, what the hell now, you know? So the fact that you have so much more information at your fingertips, I think is wonderful. Next question: do you ever feel uncomfortable carrying a luxury bag? No, I do not. Next one: have you bought Hermes? I have. I have purchased Bastias, Calvi's. I used to have Click Clack H bracelets, Click H bracelets. I have a few scarves. I purchased ties, of course, makeup, as well as fragrances. And I think that's about it. That's pretty much the extent of what I've purchased from Hermes. No footwear, no ready to wear, of course, and no handbags either. All right, next one: has your love of handbags gotten worse or better over the years? I would have to say I think it's gotten better. Better because now I have a better idea as to what ends up working out for my lifestyle. For the most part, there are some bags that I've tried out that haven't really worked out, and I end up getting rid of them within a couple of months or within the year. But back in the day, I was literally buying just to buy. There was no rhyme or reason. I lost a ton of money. It bit me in the ass, and I was just kind of all over the place. So because of that, I feel like now I'm at a place where I know this will work out for me, this will not work out for me, and what have you. So I think it's gotten better. What began your passion for bags? I don't know. I honestly don't know, but it's deep, deep rooted. I know I've said this before, but when I was a kid, I used to have outfits like Easter outfits and stuff like that, and those outfits came with little purses, and whenever I would spend the night or whenever we would go anywhere, I would take all of those purses with me. I'm telling you, if I had 6 or 9 or 10 bags, I had all 6, 9, and 10 bags with me, and I'd go about my business. Like if I was spending the night at my cousin's house, I had a toy in each bag, because that's what I did. Like I don't know how it started or what, but it's way, way, way deep rooted, and I've always been that way. So I don't know, but I am literally obsessed with bags to the full extent of the word, whether they're luxury or not. I just love bags. Crazy, right? Okay, next question. Do you go hot and cold in your luxury purchase passions? Am I reading that right? In your luxury purchase passions? I don't know. Buy, and then cold turkey. Yes, I've noticed that sometimes I stick to like bag after bag after bag, and then I stop with the handbags, and then I go to SLGs, or sometimes I end up leaving both of those for just a kick on Vans or a kick on on Converse. So I do definitely have a little bit of I don't know, like peaks and valleys when it comes to how I purchase luxury goods or what I'm purchasing from luxury goods. All right, next one. Feelings on Chanel Classic flat prices. I think it's worth it. As beautiful as I think Chanel Classic flaps are, in my personal opinion, the way that I see it, I do not think that they warrant the price point. I don't think any bag is worth $8,000 to $10,000. That's not something for me. I don't care who makes it, whether it's Chanel or any other fashion house. I don't think a bag that's just about 10 grand, if not a little bit over 10 grand with taxes, ends up is worth it. So I don't think it's worth it. But the question is, if it's worth it to you, then absolutely go for it. Because I mean, I know that you can hear all these people say, don't go for it because of this, don't go for it because of that. But ultimately, you're the one using the bag. You're the one that's paying for it. So it should be all about you and how you feel, not how someone else feels about it or what they think about it either. You know, so if it speaks to you, then by all means, go for it. All right, next question. Will you ever have purse piece? I don't think so. And I really don't think so. And I think that just goes back to what I was talking about when I was a kid. It just, they've always been there. Like, I mean, who the hell carries 6 bags around? I mean, I think if I could, I would. I probably would. I'd get a lot more. I'd get a lot more wear out of the bags if I wore them 6 at a time. But no, I don't think I'll ever have purse piece. What about you guys? Do you think that you'll ever have purse piece? Let us know in the comment section down below. All right, next question. What luxury item do you regret selling in the past? 0. I have 0 regrets on anything that I have purchased or anything that I have sold. And I'm happy to say I have only repurchased 1 item, or 2 if you want to say it that way. It's the pochette accessoire. I sold all 3 of the ones that I had, and then I got back 2 of them. Now, as far as the bad, I wouldn't necessarily say that it's bad, but I also think that it's become highly commercialized, and I'm including myself in that because obviously I have worked with companies to do sponsored videos in the past, but now it seems like it's all about views. It's all about numbers. It's all about subscribers. It's all about that shock value. And whereas before it's like someone just turned on their camera and spilled their guts about something they loved or whatever it was that they were talking about. And now it's like there's a method to the madness. There's a recipe for how to make a really successful video and what have you. So I do miss the old days in some way. In other ways, I do like the way that it's kind of gone in that direction. And I'm not trying to take away anything from anybody that does YouTube as a job by any means whatsoever. So please don't misunderstand what I'm saying. Because like I said before, I consider YouTube to be a hobby of mine, but I know that there are many people that do this as a job, and my hat's off to them because it is not an easy job whatsoever. There is so much behind the scenes that people don't see, whether it's your camera malfunctioning, whether it's your editing software, your lighting, it could be anything, or just having to film 5 to 7 videos a week. That is nuts, you know, and that's crazy. But again, my hat's off to people that do that because there is a lot of money to be made on YouTube. Absolutely. A lot of people, even myself, when I research anything, not necessarily luxury related, I'm on YouTube, you know, checking out videos for X, Y, and Z. So not just luxury related, but I think in general, YouTube has changed drastically. Again, sometimes for the good, sometimes for the bad. And I'm not trying to shit on anybody by any means whatsoever. But the luxury sector of it, or the luxury part of it has definitely become, as with everything else, very commercialized. But I think that a lot of companies realize that YouTube and video format or video platforms are the way of the future. You know, so it's not necessarily a bad thing. And as I said, I do include myself in that, but I do not consider myself to be an influencer. That actually, that word makes me cringe because my job is not to influence you to buy something. I look at YouTube as a way of sharing my love of something and sharing information. And if the information that I'm sharing with you, if you decide to buy that item, I think it's wonderful, but it's not because I'm trying to shove something down your throat. You know, I'm definitely not that, definitely not that type of person. Yeah, I don't know. What do you guys think? How do you think that the luxury community has changed on YouTube since the beginning? Or do you think it's changed in a certain way or what have you? Whatever the case may be, I would love to hear your thoughts. Next question, how often do you revisit your budget for luxury? I mean, I'm always very conscientious of what I'm spending on luxury goods. And as I've said before, it really comes down to mad money and how much I have in my mad money stash. But for the most part, I pretty much end up keeping an even keel on everything and how I spend it. So I do like to revisit it every quarter. especially if I ended up getting a raise at work and what have you. But even then, there are other things that are way more important, such as retirement and putting money towards that. So I always say that I have to take care of all of my responsibilities. The retirement and all that good stuff is part of it, and then the mad money comes next. All right, next question. Minnie, which do you prefer, bags from Senreve or Pollen? Hands down, Pollen. I absolutely love Pollen's. Their bags. I love their craftsmanship. I love the simplicity of their handbags, and I absolutely love the price point as well. With Senreve, I have always appreciated some of the items that they end up offering people. At the same time, from a personal standpoint, I do not like how they do business whatsoever. I had a brush with them a couple of years ago. I'm not going to get into it, but I absolutely do not like how they do business. And I think that some of their bags also remind me of Stormtrooper helmets, the way that they look. But again, I'm not trying to sit here and just completely just bash them by any means whatsoever, because like I said before, a lot of people love Senreve and they love the quality and they love the brand. And I think that's wonderful. And I can appreciate some of the aspects of their handbags. But again, from a personal standpoint and how they do business, that left a bad taste in my mouth. So I'm not really too big of a fan. All right, next question. Do you like the Chanel 22 bag? Absolutely not. It looks to me like a leather dust bag, for sure. Although people have said it's comfortable, but I think it'll turn into a beautiful mess too, because it doesn't have a whole lot of structure to it. Okay, next question. How do you get past shyness when taking content pics in public? Okay, so I think that when it comes to taking pictures out in public, first and foremost, I'm not a very shy person. I can talk to anybody about anything at any point in time. I am a very chatty Cathy, and I don't really get shy, but it is a little bit weird at first. At the same time, I think like nowadays, everybody, whether you're on social media or not, people are on their phone, they're taking pictures, they're taking video, they're on FaceTime. I mean, just the other day I was at Target and some lady was FaceTiming with her friend, like she was at home, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. I just heard your entire conversation. Thanks for that. But yeah, I think it's so normal now that it's kind of like people don't really care. They see it, they're like, oh, well, whatever, you know, because maybe they do it too. So, but as far as myself, I'm not very shy whatsoever. Okay, next question. What is one purchase that scarred you from rebuying anything that resembles it? Oh man, the Louis Vuitton croissant bag. The croissant bag, I had this bag 100 years ago, and I thought it was super cute. I thought it was a really cool style. The worst bag I have ever had. I mean, the style that it has just makes everything gravitate towards the middle, and it's such a pain in the ass to get in and out of. It just drove me crazy. So the style that has, just I'm not a fan of whatsoever. And because of that bag, I'm also not a fan of the Dior saddle bag, because I think the same thing's going to happen. They have that weird kind of design that it just doesn't seem, it's beautiful, but it just doesn't seem practical to get in and out of it. So the croissant bag and anything that resembles it absolutely scarred me for life when it comes to handbags. Okay, next one. So with an iconic name like Minnie, are you a Disney fan of the mouse at all? Not at all. Not at all. I'm not a fan of Disney whatsoever. I mean, I live in Southern California, and I think I've probably gone to Disneyland, I don't know, maybe 15 times at most in my entire life. Of course, I grew up with the cartoons, but I'm not a fan of the mouse at all. Minnie or Mickey. I mean, Minnie, she's kind of, I don't know, she's kind of a bee. She can't really make up her mind. Mickey, he seems like such a pushover. When it comes to those kind of cartoons, I'm a bigger fan of Mortimer. Mortimer is the guy that tries to take Minnie from Mickey. He's cool. He's cool. He's kind of arrogant. He's kind of, I don't know, he's really sly. I really like him. And of course, I love Donald Duck because he has a terrible temper. So yeah, but as far as the mouse and stuff, no, not at all. Not a fan. Okay, next question. Do you still have the Dior book tote and would you recommend? Absolutely. I still have the bag. I didn't bring it out so I can share it with you guys. But I still have the bag. I still think it's great. And much to my surprise, I thought that it would end up wearing a lot worse as time went by just because it pretty much is a fabric bag. And I do have, you know what, let me go grab it because I have to show you guys. Hang on. All right, so here is the Dior book tote in the size small in the burgundy. And as I was saying, I really was surprised by how this bag has been wearing because I honestly thought that I'd end up getting a lot more wear and tear, especially on the corners here. I do have some pilling throughout, but not too bad considering how much I have used this bag in the past. I have some pilling here and some here, but overall, not bad whatsoever. I do end up getting some lint on here, but again, not as bad as some of the other bags that I own. I do have a Samorga organizer in here and it has been a lifesaver. It's been amazing, but I absolutely love this bag. Absolutely recommend it. And it's also very, very comfortable to use for extended periods of time. All right, next one, favorite bag of the moment. I would have to say, I was gonna say the Balenciaga extra, extra small tote, but I think it would have to be these three right here. So the Balenciaga extra, extra small tote in taupe, amazing bag. Honestly, I'm beyond obsessed with it. Very comfortable, very spacious. It's one of the best buys I think that I've made as well. So love that. The Marc Jacobs mini tote in the color Morning Glory. Amazing. You guys know how I feel about those totes, so I'm not going to get into it. And then the Versace crystal crossbody, whatever the hell that bag is called. That guy there also is amazing. So I've been using those three in major rotation. So I know I'm cheating. I always cheat. I don't always stick to one, right? But those three, so kind of cheating. Okay, how are Samorga organizers? They're amazing. And this is coming from someone who didn't really like organizers back in the day. If you go back to videos from like 7-8 years ago, I was always like, yeah, they're not for me. They're not for me. I can appreciate them, but they're not for me. But Samorga organizers, I absolutely love. They have saved the interior of my handbags many of times. And what I personally end up using organizers for more than anything is the fact that they end up helping the handbag keep their shape. So I absolutely love that. I've never had any type of bleeding with the colors of their organizers whatsoever. They are just absolutely amazing. I know that they have really long shipping times, but honestly, they're fabulous. Absolutely fabulous. All right, next one. Do you speak Spanish? You rock rolling your R's. I do. I speak fluent Spanish. Mrs. Salazar will be really happy about that. She was my first Spanish teacher and she always tried to teach me to roll my R's. So that's pretty awesome. But I do. I speak Spanish fluently. Next question. What do you think of everyone unboxing the same items? No individuality. I think that when you have a community of like-minded individuals that talk about new items coming out or vice versa, you are bound to see similarities within their collections. And I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I think it's like the secret club that's not so secret, kind of like what I've talked about when it comes to the Neverfull. Some people hate it, some people love it. So I think that especially when it comes to new items coming out that are extremely popular, such as the Chanel heart bag, everyone was losing their minds over that. And a lot of people have been unboxing those bags or those items. So again, I think that when you have a community of people that end up talking about luxury goods and end up talking about Chanel or end up talking about Hermes, you're going to see a lot more of the same things within those collections, because it's that group of people, versus talking to someone who doesn't care about bags and only cares about, you know, something else. You're not going to really find that within their collection, within their wardrobe or what have you. So I think that's why we end up seeing a lot of the same things. Plus, I think that I'll only speak for myself. For me, resale value is very important to me. It's not the only thing that's important when it comes to buying handbags, but I want to be a little bit, I try to be very smart about what I end up purchasing. And a lot of these fashion houses that I end up going for, some of them do end up holding their resale value better than others, and that makes me happy. So the fact that some of these brands, again, end up holding their resale value better than others, that might be important to someone else. You might be seeing the same things in our collections. So it's not about I don't think it's about that. Plus, you can always end up personalizing any type of handbag because you can end up adding a different chain. You can add a twilly, you can add a luggage tag, a bag charm, and make the bag your own. And not only that, getting any type of beauty marks on the bag really makes the bag yours because no one else will have that type of beauty mark either. So I still think that there's a lot of individuality when it comes to handbags and handbag collections within the luxury community, you know, but I think a lot of us do have similar items, and some of us have those one or two pieces that maybe don't appeal to everybody, kind of like the Versace or kind of like the Prada crystal bag. A lot of people aren't into crystal bags. They're like, what the hell is this? What's going on with this? But people that are magpies will definitely see it. So I don't know. That's kind of how I see that, but I would love to hear your guys' thoughts on this topic. All right, next question. Which first Chanel bag would you recommend besides the classic flap and the reissue? Hands down, the Chanel wallet on chain. Because the wallet on chain, I feel like you can really get a feel for the brand, for the quality, and it's also incredibly versatile. You can use it as a travel bag, as an everyday bag, or what have you. And I think that the wallet on chain is one of the best bags that Chanel has, especially for, I mean, whether it's starting a collection or if you already have an established collection and you want to add a new piece, I think that the wallet on chain is absolutely fantastic. All right, next question. If you could vacation anywhere in the world leaving tomorrow morning, where would you go? Amalfi Coast. Absolutely. I have never been there. I am dying to go there. It looks amazing. I want to stuff my face, drink a bunch of wine, and enjoy the view. So absolutely there. And the last question, when do you think enough is enough? Oh man, I really don't know. I have no idea, but I am having a blast figuring it out. But that does it for this week's MMQA. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I hope I was able to answer your question. Thank you guys for all of the wonderful questions that you submitted. I really try to answer as much as I can, and I will save some of these for the following MMQA. If you guys have any questions for the following MMQA, please leave them on the comment section down below. But I love you guys. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, make sure and give it a thumbs up. If you haven't already and you would like to, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I'll see you guys later. And as always, make it a fabulous day or not, the choice is yours. Have a great day.